Hi, GameBoy Advance here again, and today I want to show you why you should play Spider-Man Mysterio's Menace. Swinging onto store shelves in 2001, Mysterio's Menace marked the first of several appearances for the neighborhood-friendly Spider-Man on the GBA, hanging strong with a Metacritic score of 84. Taking place after the events of PlayStation's Spider-Man 2 Enter Electro, we find Peter Parker out and about at night when he sees a breaking news report on a nearby TV, revealing criminal activity at several locations in downtown New York City. It should come as no surprise that the plot is told through the style of comic book cells, which makes perfect sense for a Marvel game. What I love about the beginning is you're given the option to pick from 3 different locations to start: Pier 54, downtown Manhattan, or the Foundry. It's nice to have this immediate flexibility like I previously called out in my Gunstar Superheroes video. I was even caught off guard noticing a light Metroidvania presence here, with some stages requiring you to explore a bit and backtrack, so it's not always the case of going from left to right. Not that there's anything wrong with the linear experience, but having a little more freedom definitely adds value. What impressed me is how legitimate the graphics and stage design looked. A lot of detail was put into building out the various New York City locations to match the tone and feel of a Spider-Man brawler. And that's most of what you'll be doing. Spider-Man has a fair amount of tricks up his sleeve, which includes several fighting moves like aerial kicks and uppercuts, but the highlight for me here is a series of web-based abilities. Using R will allow you to tie up enemies for a few seconds so you can get the jump on them and take them out. But also with L you can fire a web blast to do damage from a distance. And of course there's the web swinging. As athletic as Spider-Man is, you'll still need to be able to swing around when it comes to the longer gaps in between platforms as you're traversing through to the end of certain stages. It's not all unlimited though. At the top left of the screen is Spider-Man's web gauge. Any mechanic involving it will deplete that, but thankfully there will be web refill items along the way to help you avoid running completely out, and occasionally enemies will drop them. Speaking of enemies, you'll see the standard types for a Marvel game centered in New York City, ranging from mobsters, to goons, to thugs, and occasionally some weirder enemies. If you're big on Spider-Man lore, you can probably guess some of the bosses you'll encounter. Aside from the obvious one in the title, you'll also have to deal with Rhino, Scorpion, Electro, and a few others. During your mission, there will also be hidden power-ups and upgrades throughout each stage. With items like the Spider Belt and Wrist Container, you can increase your web cartridges. Not to mention you can find suit upgrades that will enable protection from electrical or fire attacks. Once you've collected any of those, pressing Select will bring up a special screen that will show you what you've acquired. In addition, you can revisit stages, as the stage select screen will indicate if you've missed any important items the first time. One special thing to note is that there are no save files here, only a password system. I'm not sure what the decision behind that was, however you can definitely complete this game in one sitting if you wanted to. It wasn't designed to be a lengthy experience, and I think that's okay. Despite having many RPGs and action-adventure games, what makes the GBA a fantastic handheld is being able to get through shorter games like this, especially if you're on the go and don't have a ton of time. Personally, it took me under 2 hours to complete, and that's without finding every item. One issue I had some trouble with was being ambushed by off-screen enemies. The sprites here are big, and although I do like the realistic detail on Spider-Man and the boss characters, the screen crunch would occasionally make it tough to see where I was jumping or swinging to, or even sense if anyone was approaching. It was definitely an inconvenience, but didn't ruin the game for me, just a sign of the limitations of playing on a small handheld console. Another element I really enjoyed is the music. I have mentioned this a lot in my videos, but I feel like that is a big piece of what makes a game great. The soundtrack provided here corresponds well and even sounds like what I'd expect out of a Spider-Man movie or cartoon series. Overall, developer Activision put a lot of effort into making this the best Spider-Man experience for a handheld game at the time. I'd say it has aged pretty well for its hardware, and it really does feel like a Spider-Man game, so if you're a fan of the character or looking for an action platformer or brawler, this is a must-play. As far as replayability though, I think your mileage may vary. Sure, you can go through this game multiple times in different stage orders and different difficulties, but compared to other games, this may be more of a one-and-done situation. But that one is well worth it. Luckily today it is pretty inexpensive to find, as I was able to track it down at my local used game store for only $13, which is great considering it's not available on any modern platforms. And with how complicated licensing for these characters can be, it's tough to say it ever will be, so if you're looking to add it to your collection, this one's a no-brainer. Well, what did you think? Are you familiar with Spider-Man Mysterio's Menace? To be honest, I hadn't heard of it until recently, but I'm glad I gave it a chance. Anyway, let me know what your favorite Marvel GBA game is, and maybe I'll cover it in a future video. Thanks for watching.